Hello and welcome. So should you buy a house just because rates are really low? The rates are historic low and that is a fact. We're being told we can buy a bigger, better house because rates are so low. Or can you? Isn't that a lie we're being told? Can we really buy a bigger, better house? But wait a minute. The last time I checked, the same old shack was selling for $1 million. So how can we buy a bigger, better house? So why am I being told that I can buy a bigger, better house just because rates are low? Because the prices are also historic high. In fact, the prices have gone much higher than the reduction of rates. And that's what I mean by a lie, folks. This is a big, fat lie. Mark my words. We're not being told the full story. The full story is different, that the media and the realtors are not telling you. In reality, my cash is able to afford less house. The same house that used to sell for $500,000 is now selling for over $1 million. Same square footage, same location, same everything. So how is it better for me? Also, the rates have been low since President Trump became president. That's been a long time ago. So what now? What's different now? The reality is, folks, that the rates have gone down only a few percentage. But guess how much the prices have gone up of each house? Up to 40%. That's a lot of percent compared to 1 or 2% that the rates have gone down. That makes a huge difference in the overall process of buying a house. A house is a big investment, folks, a long-term commitment. 30 years. For some people, it's longer than marriage. I don't mean to say that, but you know what I'm saying, right? Longer than marriage possibly for some people. So it's a long commitment is what I'm saying. So you might say, well, but my monthly payments are low. And you'd be right. You're not wrong. Your monthly payments are lower. But there's a trap, folks. This is a trap. Because your payments are low, but inflation is high, and so are the house prices. So are you really getting any benefit? You see what I'm saying? Is there any benefit just because the rates are low? And I think not. And I'll give you some examples in this video that will help you understand what I'm saying better. See, until the wages come down, there's no substantial benefit of rates being low. Until inflation comes down, until the house prices go back to correction, go back to the norm. It's not the norm right now. If you compare to 2008 versus 2022, the prices are very similar, folks. There are some similarities in terms of pricing only. See, if wages don't come down, people still have buying power, as I mentioned in my other video. And if that continues, why would the prices come down? So should you buy just because rates are low? Is that the argument, folks? Is that the argument you're telling yourself? Because if you are, you probably have FOMO versus really a real factual basis on buying a house right now. I will show you pictures of realtors who are clearly telling you these lies. Remember, they're not telling you the full picture. They're not telling you the house prices are 40% higher. All they're telling you the rates are low. And that to me is a lie. Withholding information from me and not giving me a full picture to me is a lie, folks. And you tell me if I'm wrong, okay? You're throwing me in a trap, right? You're not telling me the full picture that I'm overpaying for a house by 40%. So I don't want to just present problems to you guys, okay? I want to present solutions. Therefore, in the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some tips that if you are to buy a house in this economy right now, in this market, then what should you do? What should be your best move? So stick around till the end. By the way, if you're seeing some value in my content, if I'm solving your problems, if I'm answering your questions, please show me some love and click a subscribe and like to my channel so I can make more content like this for you guys. So if that interests you, stick around for more. So welcome back, folks. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Konnichiwa, ni hao, salam, namaste, kef halek, privet to all my friends all over the world. Thank you for joining. So today's topic is the rates are low, should I buy now? Folks, the Feds have told us, right? They've been telling us that, the inflation is transitionary, but guess what? That's also a lie. Feds are lying to us. Now Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen have stopped using the word transitionary. If you look at their last meeting from December 17th of FOMC meeting, Federal Reserve meeting, where Jerome Powell clearly stated that he may not be as aggressively increasing the interest rate. So the speculation is that interest rates may not even go up as high as they talked about before. They're scared, folks. The rates have been low since Trump became president, and they continue to do so because there's pressure from the White House. The Federal Reserve has two priorities, folks. Guess what they are? Guess what the two priorities are? established by the White House. Number one is keep the prices under control, right? Which is inflation. Number two, increase employment, which is harder. The good thing is in this economy, the wages are high because the demand of workers is high, folks. And if you look at my video called The Great Resignation, I'll put a link here. In Great Resignation, I'm talking about why people don't want to go to work. If you can't pay me a high enough salary for my work, why should I go to work when I can sit at home, collect my check from PPP, thank you very much, have a nice day. I don't need you. And I present to you this argument, folks, because it's very valid to what's happening, and it's connected to the housing market and the prices because people have buying power. The wages used to be $62,000 median for government salary, right? Now it's $69,000. There is a shift in wages. Now, the wages historically have not kept up with the housing prices in the market and the inflation. So wages are still behind, but that's a separate topic. The reason I'm telling you this is wages play a factor. Inflation, wages, rates all play a factor into this. Don't let the realtors or anyone else tell you, brokers tell you, just because rates are low, you should buy the house. That's a lie, folks. That's not the full picture. The feds are also telling us that the inflation is 6%. If you look at the term shadow stats on Google, you can Google it or somewhere. Shadow stats tells you that that's not the truth. Inflation is way over 8% right now. How do we know that? If you look at the past 3 months of inflation and you aggregate it for the whole year, the next projection of the year, it's easily over 8%. That's historic high in the past 20 or so years. I don't know exactly how long. Okay, it's concerning. So overall, the house prices are almost 20% high, 20% nationwide. In some areas, there's still opportunities, like Pittsburgh is going down, Virginia is pretty stable, but Arizona is going up, right? Texas is pretty stable right now, Dallas, Texas especially. But the prices are escalating in pretty much all across U.S. Rates were low in 2019, right? What happened? Right? Nobody bought the house because the media wasn't beating the drum that, oh my God, there's a shortage of houses. And oh, by the way, the shortage is not on all houses. The shortage is specifically in the single family market. The builders are not able to build as fast as they could for the 3.4 million houses they're behind on. That is true. But again, the media is not telling you the full picture. They're not telling you that, oh, by the way, there are other older houses you could buy. You could move to suburbs and buy there. You could move to urban areas and buy there. They're not telling you that because, most people are princesses. They want to live in the biggest, baddest metro areas. And I can't blame them for that. All I'm saying is there's opportunities other places still in this market. People are moving away from the cities because now they can work from home. That's a trend in most metro areas, right? Right? And the more flexible people are to move away from the big cities, the metro areas like Arizona, New York City, LA, those areas, the more there's opportunity in the market. So I just did a video called, Should You Buy a House Now or Wait? And this video got like over 60,000 views, over 700 comments. But the comments that really struck me hard was the same tune and same drum that realtors have been beating for centuries, is that buy now or else. Buy now or you will never have this house again. And that's the biggest lie we're being told, folks. I looked long and hard in the history of US. Has there ever been a time where people are not able to find any housing? And I could not find any evidence. So I don't understand. I don't understand that somehow there won't be any houses to buy. That's like saying there won't be any toilet paper. Remember what happened to toilet paper? We don't have any toilet paper. We need toilet paper to live our lives. Otherwise, something will happen, but nothing happened. Everybody has toilet paper, and everybody will have houses. I promise you that. And I feel like I didn't do a good enough job. I could have explained it better. I could have given more examples, which is what I'm about to do now, is give you more examples. So let's consider a few factors. Let's do a couple of scenarios together where I can give you some examples, which will make it easier for you and your buying decision so you understand, is this the right time? Is this the best time to buy the property you want to buy, the house of your dreams, right? So let's take a scenario. Let's start with this scenario, right? Let's say you bought a house for $400,000, which is the median average price nationally in US, right? You bought a house for $400,000, right? You get a killer interest rate, 3%. Your monthly payment is $1,900, P&I plus tax or whatever, right? So now you start to do even something better than most people do. You try to rent this place. You say, well, I'm going to rent this house for, I don't know, $2,100 or something, right? Rent this house, let's make some money. So now you're like a superstar, you're an investor. But the price you're buying it is high, you know that already, right? So what happens? Let's say a few years from now, the house prices tank. Let's say it doesn't go down 40%, let's just say only 20%, right? So price is down 20%, what happens then? your house is worth $320,000, right? Now the picture doesn't look as good, does it? So now you're at $320,000 and you need to sell the house because your daughter's wedding is coming up, or you have some medical bills to pay, or you're moving from a job to another job, some other state. Like, what do you do? How do you get rid of this house? Because guess what? You have no equity, right? No equity. You have no equity. You lost all the money you put in. So that's the worst case scenario that could happen. So you must know that. Now let's flip this on its head and let's do a better scenario, okay? So let's say you bought the same house for $400,000 and you decided to live in it yourself. You said, okay, fine, I'm just gonna camp out. Rates are low, you bought it at a high price. Now the house doesn't go down as much. Let's say it goes down around 10% or whatever, right? Let's say it went to, I don't know, 350. You lost $50,000. Big deal, right? But guess what happens? You're staying in the house. You don't have to move for a job. You don't have to sell your house for any reason. You're okay, still okay, right? But guess what happens? Even in this scenario, right? You're still behind because you lost some equity. Guess how long will it take you to recover that equity in your house that you bought at the price at, right? It's going to take you 10 to 12 years. Why do I say that? Because if you look at 2008, that's exactly what happened. The market went down in 2008 and started to come up in 2018 and 20, 12 to 15 years sometimes, maybe even longer this time. Who knows, right? We don't know that. But again, that's something realtors and brokers won't tell you because they want to put the money in their pockets. Now let's do a third scenario, a little bit better, right? You bought the house as $400, $1,900 is your monthly payment, but guess what? The prices keep going higher. Let's say everybody's wrong and the prices go from $400 to $450 in 2023. You're still paying $1,900 a month. Now you've gained $50,000 equity. Well, guess what? You killed it. You're a genius. You're an investor. You're a superstar because you have bought the house at the right price, knowing that it was high, but it's going to go higher. Now you come out on top. And that's where you need to be, folks. And that's my message to you from this video. If you can take one thing away, is you want to buy at a price where you can build some equity, okay? Build some equity in the property, right? There's some padding. So if you put down any payment in the house, that stays there and hopefully gives you better return. So you want to be in that third scenario, that third bracket, the third column is where you need to be, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, great. So the question is this, folks. You want to ask yourself this question, not just the rates are low, but is this the peak of the market, right? And I think in my speculation, I can't predict, I don't do predictions, okay? I'm not Peter Schiff or whatever. I think that the prices are close to the peak, if not too far from it. So it's your decision to decide. Do you want to buy now, close to the peak or at the peak? Or do you want to wait till the peak goes away and you know for sure it's leveling off? You know, you at least want to know it's leveling off or coming down. And I'll put the graph up here so you can see in some states what's happening. In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's already coming down. But so is not the case in Virginia or maybe even Arizona. Now, Virginia may not go down as much as Pittsburgh does because of the metro area and the economy and everything else. But that's for you to decide. Do you want to buy at the peak or close to the peak? I personally would not touch that. I look at house as a long-term game, as an investment. I don't want to lose any money. I don't like losing money. I have never lost money in real estate, and that's why I play the real estate game and not as much as the stocks game. If you've seen my video of stocks versus real estate, I do a 75-25 split between real estate and stocks. That is why I do that, folks. House is one of your biggest investment. It can give you the biggest gains. It can give you a few $100,000 like that. So for that reason, I suggest this may not be the best time to buy a house, folks. That's what I think. Now, if rates go up and prices don't come down, that's very possible. That's very, very likely, actually. The rates will go up and prices won't come down because guess what? Inflation is high, wages are high, house prices are high. So, I mean, keep an eye on those three factors: wages, inflation, and rates. Keep an eye on those three factors. They're the ones that will determine the market. Let me also share a real-world example with you guys that recently I got an email from a guy who bought a house because it was such a high price, at a price he could not afford because the rates were low. And I'm gonna mask some of the names in the email, but I can show you the email. The email basically reads that I'm in financial trouble and Mr. AK, can you give me a loan for this? This is a real world example, folks, and this can happen to you. So please be aware. I know some people left me a comment in my last video that you should put down 2, 3, 4%, 5%. This could happen to you if you put 3, 5%, folks. If you can only put 5% on a house, that means you can't really afford that house. So please be mindful of that. And this is an example of what could happen in this market, because this guy bought this house and now he's in financial trouble. You know, what happens if the prices go down? he will be in deep, deep trouble. And he's asking me for help. So those of you who are desperate to buy a house right now and you must have a house, you've made offers, your offers have been rejected, you are the biggest cash cow for these people, for the realtors, for the brokers, and for the sellers. Because sellers are in on this, folks. Sellers are the ones price gouging. They want the biggest, baddest price. Let's have some bidding wars going on, right? Sellers are doing that, right? We know that. So before you buy, just consider these factors. Before you buy, consider these factors, folks, okay? The market you're buying in, why you're buying. Are you just buying because rates are low? That's a stupid reason to buy a house, okay? It has to be more than that. Are you buying new or used? Are you buying at the peak, as I mentioned, right? Are you buying at the peak or close to the peak? If you buy at the peak and the market tanks, you are responsible for this, not me. So don't tell me I didn't warn you, okay? I'm not trying to play fear factor. I have nothing to gain from this. I just tell you this because I just want you to decide where the peak is. I can't tell you that. I were you, I would not look in the metro city areas, okay? I would go and look in the suburbs and the urban areas. I would also not look for new construction or a brand new house because you know that turnkey prices are always the highest. I would look for a house that needs a little bit of work so you can create some equity. So even if the house price drop, you still have some padding in there to play with, right? You need some padding, some room, some equity. Remember we talked about this? Right, so you need that. So I hope I was helpful in this. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to make sure I can give you whatever I read from my experience and then, you know, clear out any of the cobwebs they're putting in your head, any of the FOMOs you guys have. You can filter that out. I hope you know what you're getting here. If you do like the video, please like and subscribe. Click the smash the like button. Show some love to our boy AK to make me happy and make my dog happy because he needs to be happy. I do want to answer a couple of questions. I had someone today. The Atlanta market, I will look into that, the Atlanta market. I don't know exactly which city you're in, but I also had somebody who commented, Paul Harris, that he really likes my content. So Paul, appreciate you. Paul Harris, thank you for coming to our channel. I will let you know if I come up with a course or something. I want to create a roadmap of fundamentals of real estate so you guys can understand how market is impacted by certain factors like wages, inflation, rates, and all that. If you have a better understanding, folks, you can do everything and anything you want. Your house can make you wealthy. Please understand that. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. If I missed anybody, I'll catch you in the next video. It's holiday time, folks, so I want to wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I want to wish you all the best of luck in 2022, which is only a few days away. It's hard to believe. I definitely crushed a lot of my goals. Not enough, but plenty of goals. But the channel is growing. We have over 6,000 followers on Instagram. We have over almost close to 3,900 subscribers on YouTube and growing. 2,500 on Facebook. I think 5,000 on LinkedIn. I think people can see the difference in what I'm presenting, and the reason and the agenda behind it is really to help the outsider folks, people who don't have the information, people who are being brainwashed by the media. You know, people are being brainwashed by the realtors. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against the realtors. There's some wonderful realtors and they've been on my channel. Jamie Cook is one of them. Josh Warner is one of them. And I can't thank you guys enough because, I mean, my YouTube is just blowing up. I get so many different messages and some people are asking me to mentor them. So I'm humbled, folks, that you guys have that much confidence in me. I don't have that much confidence in myself. I don't know if I can even be a good mentor or not, but if I can help in any way, I'm here to answer some questions. But in the end, I also want to share with you guys a book that I would recommend you reading. Anybody who wants to be an investor, you know, even buying a house or whatever, or buying stocks, whatever you want to do, check this book out. It's called Your Money Mentality. It's by Ted Oakley. Ted Oakley was a former partner at one of the investing hedge fund firms, a very knowledgeable guy. But this book is really about your mentality, your mindset, you know, the risk and losses and gains, and about your personality, right? Not every investment is for every personality, folks. So I would highly recommend this book. It's also available on Audible, right, folks? So the knowledge is the new currency, and if you learn from these people, you will come out on top because you will have access to other people's experience that they've already lived through. And those of you who like to read can buy the hard copy. Those of you who like to listen, like myself, and I'm in the gym working out, I listen to these books, and it's been very, very helpful for me. Every time I commute, I'm listening to books, folks. So Audible is one of my favorite apps. And Audible, if you're hearing this, maybe you can sponsor me someday. But anyway, well, thank you for joining. Until next time, have a great day.